Hi guys, today I'm just making a video for the topic differentiation. I know many of you guys have this topic in your iGCSEs and in your A levels. So I thought of making a video on how to do some simple basic differentiation questions. Hopefully this video should be short and nice. I'm just going through 5 questions that might appear for your exam style in your exam for differentiation. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot. So alright, let's begin with it. Okay, so the first question is differentiate y is equal to x squared plus 2. Okay, so now what do you need to do? Your first step is to consider this as a dy dx situation, where you're going to raise the power and put it as an integer value. So since you know that x is raised to the power of 2, what we're going to do is the first step that we're going to take is we're going to write 2x and we're going to subtract the power of x. We're going to subtract it by 1. So it's going to be 2 minus 1. So whatever the number is raised to is going to be written as an integer and is also going to be subtracted by 1. So you're going to subtract 1 from 2, alright? And then since 2 is a constant and has no x or variable, we're just going to leave it as it is, since constant terms have 0 gradient. So all you need to do is whatever x is raised to as a power, you're going to multiply that x value by that power, and you're going to take 1 off that power, alright? So since you know that this is 2x2 minus 1, it's going to be 2x. So that is your answer. Since 2 is being cut off, the reason we're doing that is because constant terms, since 2 is a constant terms have no gradients, have 0 gradients basically, alright? So 2x is your answer. That should get you some good marks. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Is find the gradient of the graph at x is equal to 2. Okay, so now you're given a graph here with the x-axis and the y-axis that's being labeled. Now, how do you find out the gradient of this graph? Now, what do you need to do is, since you know that x equals 2, the first step that you need to do is to differentiate this equation, alright? So what we're going to do is you're going to take out, since you know that 10 is a constant, we're going to do it like this. So dy dx, that's going to be 2. We're putting it in brackets. Now the reason why I'm putting it in the brackets is because I'm taking this x as an individual. If you check the top part, there is no term next to x. There's no number next to x, but in this case you have 2 next to x. So you're going to have 2x, same step, 2 minus 1, constants, have 0 gradient, so you're not going to take that value. You have 2 times 2x, and that's going to give you 4x. Now, since you have differentiated this equation, you're going to write when x is equal to 2, you're going to say dy dx, right? You're going to take that equation and whatever you have found, and you're going to replace this value of x with 2 in this differentiated derivative, or we have found. So you're going to have 4 times 2, that's going to be 8. So the gradient, right, the gradient of the graph at x equals 2, the gradient is 8. So that's your answer. That should get you some good marks. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Your next question is stating, so the gradient is 8 over there, alright? Okay, now curve C is given by the equation y is equal to 2x cubed minus 4x squared minus 4x plus 12. Find dy by dx. Now, this is a pretty long equation, so what I'm going to do is we're going to write this down as well. So you have 2x cubed minus 4x squared minus 4x plus 12. What I'm going to do next is going to write 2 there. You have 3x, and since we take 1 off the power, we're going to do the same steps as I'm doing here. So you have minus 4, take the terms individually and put them in brackets, multiply x by the power of it, and you're going to take 1 off that. Same step applies for the next part. You have x being raised to 1, So in that case, it's multiplied by 1, and it's going to be subtracted from 1. So indirectly, you're saying that this is cut off, and the plus 12 is also being cut off since it's a constant and it has 0 gradient. Now next thing, I'm just going to multiply these two terms together to give you 6x squared minus 4 times 2 is minus 8x, and there's the power is just 1. And in this case, since you know that x is 0, x raised to the power of 0 becomes 1, minus 4 will be times by 1 to give you minus 4. So this is your differentiated or derivative, and once you have found the derived function of this, and you should be getting that. Now your next step that's involved in this is to write down the gradient, right? Write down the gradient of the tangent to curve at the point where x is equal to 2. Alright, so now what we're going to do is, since we have found out what the dy by dx is, you're going to write that equation down, 6x squared minus 8x minus 4. Okay, since we know this, like the same question that I've done previously, is that all you need to do is take that value, alright, and you're going to replace it for x. So what I mean by that is, I think this is minimum for 2 marks, so maybe 2 marks. No, I think this is for 1 mark. So what you're going to do is you're going to replace the x values by 2, so you have equals 6, 2 squared minus 8 brackets 2 minus 4. This should give you, put that in your calculator, and you should be getting a value of about 4. So the gradient is 4. So you're going to just write there, I'm just going to write it down there, is that the gradient is 4. That should give you some good 1 mark. Now, next one, find an equation for normal to curve to the point. Now, basically they're finding hence or otherwise, find an equation for the normal to the curve at this point. Okay, so this is a pretty good question. What you're going to check is that you have to find out the gradient of the normal, right? So since you know the gradient, I'm just going to write that down. The gradient of normal is minus 1 divided by the gradient of tangent. So since you know that above we have found out the gradient of the tangent to the curve is 4, so what you're going to do is you're going to do minus 1 divided by 4. Alright, this is a step. Minus 1 divided by 4, that should give you about minus quarter. Okay, and next one, to the point. So since we know that x equals 2, we have to find out the equation, right? Since we know that x equals 2, the y value is, since we know the y value will be 4. Now, the reason where we have got this equation is, if you look back at the first equation hand here, we know, we're just going to write that down from the question. Since they're all connected in 3 parts, a, b, and c, you have 2x cubed minus 4x, 2x cubed minus 4x cubed minus 4x plus 12. You're going to replace the x value in this equation, alright? You're going to raise this to power of 3, you're going to raise the power of 4, power of 2, sorry, 2 plus 12. Now what you're going to do is you're going to open the brackets up together, give you a value of about, what I'm just doing is I'm just putting this in the calculator, guys, so that we can quickly get the answer to this question. It should be 4, so y's value is 4. Since we know what y's value is, we know what x value is. Indirectly, they're telling you the values. So y equals 4, x equals 2. Okay, so since we know what the y value is, you're just going to put these values into a formula, right? And you should be getting about maybe I think what we're going to use is going to use y minus y1 brackets is equal to m brackets x minus x1. Once you do that, you're going to find out the value of y is minus 4, and it's going to be equal to m, since we know the gradient is it's the opposite inverse reciprocal, right? We're going to have quarter brackets x minus 2. This will indirectly give you the answer to be about, once you do that, you get the equation of the line minus quarter x plus 4 half. Alright, so I'm just going to put half there so that you guys understand that's 9 by 2. If you want it in fraction form, you can just press shift S to get it in fraction form. So 4 plus half becomes 4 by half. This should be your answer. That should be giving you some good 3 marks. So now you could also give your answer in the form of x plus 4y equals 18 by multiplying through by 4 in order to get rid of the fractions. You could do that as well, but in this case I'm just going to leave this as a good equation. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, next question says that the curve has an equation y is equal to x raised to the power of cubed minus 3x raised to the power square minus 9x plus 1. Find the derivative. So now how you're going to do this is that you're going to open up dy equals dx. You're going to follow the same steps, multiply x by the power and take 1 away from the power. You're going to do that same stuff. It's exactly the same stuff. I'm just going to do it here. You have 1x, 1 minus 1. Constants have 0 gradient, so you're not going to take that value. Since we know what x minus 1 is 1, you're going to multiply that. You have 3x squared minus 3 times 2 is 6x, and since you're going to have minus 9 times 1, that's minus 9. This should be your dy dx equation. Since you know we have to multiply, the step 1 is to multiply by the power, step 2 is to take 1 off the power, and the constant terms have 0 gradient. So you're going to leave it as 3x squared minus 6x minus 1. Alright, so you're just going to leave it like that. Your next question is to find the gradient of the curve when x is equal to minus 2. Now, in order to do this, since we know what dy dx is 3x squared minus 6x minus 9, all you need to do is just the same process. Just put minus 2 raised to the power of 2 minus 6. Just multiply all the x values you have in your calculator. Just put that down quickly. You should be getting a value of about 15. So that's a gradient. You're just going to write that down nicely. So that the gradient is 15. And I'm just going to write that down. Gradient is 15. Okay, since we know the gradient is 15, that's great. Alright, let's move on. Next question is that, what's this? Okay. Yeah, that's better. Now, for which values of x is the gradient equal to 0? Now, for which values of x, what they mean by this is you're going to take your derivative, or whatever they call it, like that, in that form, sorry. So you have 3x squared minus 6x minus 9. We're just going to put 0 there. Get your x values, you know. What I would advise you guys to do is to factorize this equation. Now, a trick is, since you guys should check out the video on the calculator. I've shown some basic tips and tricks that you guys can do on your calculator, right? So you can just hit and you can factorize this equation instantly. So your x1 values should be 3, and your x2 values should be minus 1. Okay? We're not going into factorizing part now. We're just showing you an idea. So you have x equals 3. Just hit the shift keyboard and hit mode. Check out the calculator video. It teaches you how to do factorizing of quadratics. So since you have these values, you're just going to say that it's going to be x1 is that x is equal to 3 and x is equal to 1 minus 1. Okay, all right. So these are the values that they are the values of x where the gradient is 0. Okay, so this is correct, and here you have those values. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, wow, this is one with fractions. Okay, let's see if we can solve this. Now find d squared y dx squared. Okay, what is this? Why is this a different form of dy equals dx? Now, what you're going to do here is you're going to find out, I think let's just find out the derivative of this. So I think just go with the normal dy dx, 7x, 7 minus 1 plus 2. Now in this case, since x cubed is below 2, you're just going to have x minus 3. Alright, since you know the rule of indices is that it's going to be 1 divided by n. So you're going to leave it as x raised to the power of minus 3. This is indices rule. Hopefully you guys know how to use your indices rules well. Alright, so you have 7 minus 1. That should give you 6 on top. Plus 2 brackets minus 3. Take away 1 from that power. That should leave you with 7x raised to the power of 6. Since 2 times minus 3 is minus 6, you're going to leave it as minus 6x. Minus 3 minus 1, that should give you about minus 4. Now, okay, since we know that the normal derivative of this equation of dy divided by dx is this, their next step is to find out the second order derivative. Alright, the second order derivative. Now, what I mean by that is what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both the values of 7 and 6. Okay? So I'm going to find out the second derivative, since you have to find out what d square and dy is. Let's try that again. We have to just differentiate the answer for part A. Right? Part A meaning, let's say we have to just differentiate this equation here. Alright, and understand that. Okay, 7, 6x, 6 minus 1, minus 6, minus 4x, minus 4, minus 1. So I've taken multiply by the power, same steps, guys. There's no change in it. So you have 7 times 6, that should give you 42. X raised to the power of 5. Minus 6 times minus 4. I'm just multiplying these parts together. Give you a value of about plus 24. X is minus 4 minus 1 minus 5. Since we know that a raised to the power of minus 9 n is equal to 1 divided by a raised to the power of n, we're just going to leave it as that form. So 42x raised to the power of 5 plus 24 divided by x raised to the power of 5. Now this is your answer for d raised to the power of 2, y divided by d raised to the power x cubed. Alright, so you're just going to find out the second derivative. That should be your answer. So you're going to differentiate 2 times in order to get your answer, and that's going to be like maybe 2 marks, approximately 2 marks. That should be enough. Okay, so it's 42 x raised to the power of 5 plus 24 divided by x raised to the power of 5. I've just differentiated twice. Hopefully you guys have understood that. So if you guys have enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe. And I think that's it. Hopefully, do comment below on your thoughts on this video, and also do comment below if you guys want me to continue solving topic questions for maths specifically, or some other subjects as well. I cover like computer science and ICT, and biology, physics, and chem. So yeah, just share it with your friends and family. Share it with anybody, and hopefully new content will be posted soon. I think that's it, guys, and do check out my other videos, which I'm just gonna show on the screen right now. And I think that's it. Bye, guys.